Hi, Brian here from Directus. Welcome back to another episode of the Hopline. I've got a special guest with me today, Mr. Matt Miner, our Director of Demand Gen. Matt, how are you?
I'm good. I'm really excited to be here to finally get featured on one of these videos with Brian. It's like a dream come true.
I don't know if that's a good dream to have or not, but I brought you along today because we've got another question from our community, and this one deals with OpenAI. I know you're a ChatGPT super fan, so I wanted to bring you along.
Yeah, it's kind of funny because like being in marketing seems like, we're already being overtaken by the robots with AI, but it's actually funny because it's very complementary to what we do, and I think there's a lot of overlap now where technical professionals and non-technical professionals like myself can actually come together with technology like OpenAI, just as this question brings up.
Yeah. So do you want to read this one, or do you have the Casey Kasem voice or not?
I do not have the Casey Kasem voice.
I don't know if somebody maybe used ChatGPT to send this in, but Mr. Directus Maximus, I'm assuming a Mr. Great movie, by the way, Gladiator. In a Casey Kasem voice. Hey there, Brian, my groovy friend at Directus. I hope this message finds you in the highest of spirits. I'm reaching out to you for a little help. I don't know.
That's a good voice. That's a good Casey Kasem. I'm not gonna lie.
Is it good? All right.
Yeah.
You see, I've got this fabulous idea, and I'm hoping you can help me make it a reality. Yeah, they must have done like the ChatGPT talk like Casey Kasem deal. Yeah. I want to integrate the ultra cool OpenAI into my Directus through the magic of APIs, but that's not all. I want to use this fantastic technology to create outreach emails using the data that someone has submitted on my website form.
Smart.
Been spinning records, making people dance, but this is a new tune for me. There's no way somebody actually wrote this. How can I integrate OpenAI into my Directus instance via API? Are there any special steps or configurations I need to be aware of? And once I've got OpenAI grooving with Directus, how can I use it to create outreach emails based on data submitted through my website form?
Yes. This is...
Does this jive with you as a marketer?
This is really the future where I see a lot of like marketing and sales heading is using ChatGPT exactly for this use case. So automating messages that are fully customized, because I mean that's like the problem with a lot of the sales emails that even I get to these days is like it's all blanket. It's all hey, hope you are well, reaching out because buy my product. And
so it looks automated is what you're saying.
Yeah, it looks automated. But with ChatGPT, it can be better automated because you can customize at scale based on those form fields that people fill out. So
if I type this out, like we're trying to use automation and AI to automatically generate emails that don't look automated.
That's pretty good. That's pretty good summation.
Okay. The irony is not lost on me, but okay. So I'm going to start mapping this out. Basically, what we're doing, Mr. Directus Maximus, I think he's got a form fill on the website. The user gives some data. Then we want to hit the OpenAI API with a prompt plus the data. And like how create outreach emails. So Mr. Directus Maximus, you left off the end. I'm assuming like, hey, we want to send this, or we want, if it were me, I'd want somebody to look at it first, but
yeah, that makes sense. Like adding it to a contact record where somebody could hop in, check it out, copy paste.
Okay. All right. So we hit the OpenAI API with a prompt plus the data from the form fill, and then we're going to store the response and let someone review it, and then we'll send it. And this is why I love Figma. It's very easy to sketch these things out, and then you can even do the nice little arrows. Like it's.
See, now I know
we
exactly.
actually need to do that.
Know exactly what steps are next. Now I'm excited about this.
Okay, so luckily for us, I've got a project that already has like a form integrated on the front end, so we could test that. The OpenAI piece is one that I've dabbled in a little bit via the API. It might even be good to use ChatGPT for that. Why not? Let's see what we got. Then we'll store the response, and we'll let someone review it, send the email. Sounds good. Let's clear some of this off my desktop. I thought I did this previously. Okay. All right, so this is my Directus sample project, and I'm just going to bring up another tab, and I think I've already got the OpenAI API reference. Have you messed with this at all, Matt, via like the API?
Yeah,
I know you're not super technical, but
yeah, I've actually created a Google Sheets extension with ChatGPT, so being able to summarize like large data, qualitative data into like a sentence or two. I haven't really used it with other like Directus like products though.
Okay. All right, so it looks pretty straightforward. We've just got a request, a post request to their chat completions endpoints. Let's see, we're going to pass application JSON, authorization. Okay, so we just need an API key, and we pass some stuff to it, and then we get some stuff back. Let's take a look at. Let's just see if we could do that part first. All right, so I think we're going to do this using flows, definitely. So we'll go into our Directus instance. We'll create a new flow, and let's just call it OpenAI test. All right. We'll trigger this one manually for now. We can come back in and change this later. One of the reasons why I want to do this, where's that inbox? So the next step here, I'm just going to pick a collection to trigger this based on. When you trigger manually, you can either trigger based on an individual item on the item page or the collection page itself. So I'll just leave that there. We're going to say this doesn't require selection. But one of the new features that I like, Matt, and this is probably applicable for you guys as we like build more of this stuff into our own like marketing website, is I can go in and add fields for this. So let's just do something like the prompt is the name of this. Prompt. And we'll do just a text area. We'll require a value. All good. This looks pretty good. Blah, blah, blah. All right. So there's our trigger. We're going to run this manually through the inbox collection. And then what's the next step, Matt?
Well, I have a quick question. So with confirmation dialog, you mentioned that was a new feature.
Yep.
Does that mean that I will get confirmation whenever this flow is run, or what does that mean?
Yeah, it just basically asks you to confirm. So if we go back, we go into this inbox collection. I've got this OpenAI test. Basically, it'll say, hey, are you sure you want to execute this flow? And then I can pass certain fields into it. So this is still pretty new. We didn't have this ability to actually arbitrarily enter stuff here, but that works well for this use case.
I'm less terrified of using flows now, so that's pretty cool. Some random flow going off, then I don't know.
Yeah, and you know, depending on how you want to set it up, you could also trigger a flow based on the individual item, and that's why it's there. I use this in a couple places for like generating dynamic social images, but besides the point. So the next step is going to be hit the Open API, OpenAI. I always want to call it Open API. I'm not sure why. All right, so we got our OpenAI test. We are going to just add a operation in here, and I'll tell you what I always like to do. This is good lessons for you as you're building your flows. I always like to trigger a flow first. Test trigger flow. So just with my trigger, so then I know before I start building out my different operations within that flow, what data I'm getting and what the structure of it is. So I could go into the logs for the flow. I could see in our trigger, I've got the body and I have the prompt. So that's what we're going to pass to OpenAI. All right, so let's do this. We'll create a new operation. Call this, I don't know. What do you want to call this, Matt? That's the hardest part of development.
Rise of the Terminator. I don't know. the birth of Terminator.
Okay, so the name here, like Directus will automatically give this a key. The reason why this matters is as the flow is actually running, it builds a JSON object of this data. So there'll be an object, the key, whatever comes back from OpenAI in this case, will be stored under the key Rise of the Terminator. So if I need to access this data in another operation later in the flow, I can use that key to get that data. Nice. All right, so we're going to use the post method. Sound good, Mr. Matt?
Post it.
Post it. All right. We'll copy this URL. That's what we're going to hit. We've got the content type headers that we need to pass. So we'll just create a new header. This is going to be content dash type. That will be application JSON. Any idea what that does, Matt?
Nope. Something with JSON.
No worries. All right, and then we're going to pass another header for authorization, and we've got bearer. Now this is the part where I'm going to have to go in and create an API key. KC. So get this key. Hopefully that wasn't up there long enough for anybody to see all the details of it. All right, and then we'll go back, and then we need to figure out what we're passing. All right, so in the parameters, okay, so in the request body, we're passing a couple things. We're passing the model, which OpenAI, if you're listening, like get me off the wait list for the GPT-4 API, because I only have access to GPT-3 at this point. And then we're going to pass in the messages. So in this case, what we're going to do, Matt, like for the content, this says hello. I'm just going to go in and use these double squirrely brackets here, do trigger.body.prompt. And when this flow runs, hopefully what this will do is pull the data from our trigger and send that here. So really we only have one message. The role user that's going to be us. It looks like assistant is Chat GPT or GPT-3 Turbo, whatever. All right, so do we want to start taking odds on whether this is actually going to run or not?
I believe in you.
I appreciate that. All right, so let's do it. We'll get OpenAI test. What would you like to prompt?
So what would the prompt be here? Would this be just whatever the incoming message is?
Yeah, let's just try. I just want to like test. So let's do something fun for now, and then we'll dial this in.
Let's stick with the Terminator theme. Where is Sarah Connor?
Where is Sarah Connor? Run flow. It ran successfully. Let's go back in and check our logs, see what happened. All right, less than a minute ago, there's our run. So we can see, there's the prompt. Application, okay, content. What's the payload? Ooh, it's working. Okay, there it is. So we see, here's the response coming back, a lot of stuff, but inside choices here, we see a message, and it says, I'm sorry, as an AI language model, I don't have access. Can you...
Yeah, right.
She knows it. This knows about Sarah Connor. Maybe I spelled Connor wrong. I don't know. But, okay, so this appears to be working all right. Now, let's try to think through how we're going to structure this. So going back to our Figma file here, we're going to take a form fill so we can go back in and change that trigger. We're going to hit the OpenAI API. That's so stupid. ChatGPT API. And then store the response. So we need somewhere to store that. And then we need to have a review. So I'm going to run this by you, Matt, see what you think. We've already got, I've got this inbox collection set up inside my instance where like form submissions are coming into. But what if we had like a outbox type of thing? Like, hey, we'll take when something comes in the inbox, or it could just even be called draft. I'm not sure what's the best use case or word to call it here, but basically when somebody hits the inbox with a form submission, I think I've already got one in here from Mr. John Daniels. I think that's his, could be his personal email, so maybe I'll delete that out. But we'll take this data, pass that to ChatGPT, tell it to generate a response, a nice email, and then we could create a new field for the inbox to do that, or we could create like a separate queue. Not sure. Maybe we just keep it all in one. So yeah, let's do that. All right. Sorry, I'm asking you rhetorical questions here as I work through this.
I'm just here to be your soundboard.
The soundboard. Yeah, I was on Twitter the other day and somebody brought up Kindergarten Cop.
Yes.
And like, I'm not sure if you ever like used to use the soundboards for that or not.
It's not a tumor. Yeah.
It's not a tumor. Yeah. All right. So what we're gonna do here?
Let's make a reference, by the way. This is like really on theme today. I love it.
Yeah, it's perfect, right? So we've got a couple different choices for status, new, archived. That's fine. We'll just change that after we send the email. But all right. So we're gonna create a new field in the inbox where we're gonna store the ChatGPT response.
Chat API.
Chat GPT email. All right, and I'm just going to do another field here. I'm going to use the code interface and just store some JSON. I'm going to call this Chat GPT metadata just to store that response, so we could go back and look at it easier. Okay, cool. All right, so let's go back into our flow now. We'll go to OpenAI test. And now we're going to trigger this on an event hook. Matt, tell them what an event hook is.
An event hook triggers when a specific event happens. Is that right?
That's exactly right. So there's two types of these. We've got a filter, which is a blocking action. Like, hey, let's say I want to trigger this flow anytime you try to update something, but I want to run a certain operation on it before we save the data. That's what the blocking filter type is. The action non-blocking is, hey, we're going to run this after we save the data or create the data or delete the data, whatever. So in this case, we're going to do items.create whenever a new item is created. We'll go into our inbox collection. And I think that's all we need for the trigger. All right, so we'll switch that around. What we're going to have to do now is change this up just a little bit, because now this is going to be in the... Oh, actually, no, we're not even going to pick up from the prompt. We're going to pick up the payload, and we're going to pick up the data. All right, so let's think through this prompt. By think through it, I mean let's open ChatGPT. Create a prompt for ChatGPT. Do you have any success with this? Telling it to create prompts for itself?
I've tried to use it to do Midjourney prompts, and I did not have success with it.
JSON data and generate a nice, friendly, personalized email response. Okay, what is it doing? So here's the prompt. It's calculating some JSON data. So I'm assuming that's the data it wants us to pass, which is certainly not going to happen because our data looks a little differently. I forgot the GPT-4 was a bit slower. Response template. Oh, okay. So this gets really fancy.
Nice.
Hope this finds you well. Sender name. Okay, so kind of get the format. Let's do something like this. We'll say the data. All right, and this is going to be kind of odd because it's like JSON within JSON within JSON. But there's the data, and then we're going to use the data to generate a, what would you say? Like a sales response?
Yeah. Outreach.
An initial outreach email response to the person. Personalize it as much as possible. What's your favorite tone? Do we want to do it as like a pirate for fun? Use a friendly.
Do it as Terminator. Let's see what it sounds like.
Use right like the Terminator. Okay, so now we're going to do that. And then the next step would be trying to save that data. So this is where we get to use that special key that you got, the rise of the Terminator. And the next step, we're going to take the inbox and we'll just say update inbox item. So we'll go in, and what we're going to do, Matt, we're going to update the data for that inbox item that we triggered from. So this is going to be $trigger dot key, I want to believe. So that's going to be our ID. And then our payload is going to be something. So we got ChatGPT email. And that's going to be a thing. And then we have ChatGPT, what was the other one? Metadata. That look like valid JSON? I think so.
Picture perfect JSON.
All right, so we'll take the rise of the Terminator key. I'm just going to store the whole response from rise of the Terminator operation. And then on the other one, what we need to do for the email, we need to go back. I'm going to save this real quick, but we're going to come right back to it. And I'm going to open up this log, and I'm going to look at the payload. And this is where like having a text editor handy comes in. Or wait, it's helpful to have a text editor handy. All right, so this is the response that we're getting back. We've got data. Then we're going to drill into choices, looks like, the next level down. So that'll be data.choices. And we're going to pick the first choice because that's an array. And then we have message. And then we have content. So I hope that's going to pick up the data that we want, Matt. I'm not 100% certain, though. Don't hold me to that.
That's the beauty of these Hopline videos. You know,
Figure it out live. Doing it live. All right. So, why is my... Okay. All right. I haven't saved it yet. That's why it still shows manual. Make sure we save that. And now, anytime a item is created in the inbox, we're going to rise of the Terminator, and then we're going to update the inbox item. Savvy? All right. So I've got ChatGPT email, ChatGPT metadata. I'm going to open up the front end for this thing. Actually, let's take a look at the front end. See what we've got as far as forms. I'm not going to show this very much. Okay, so we got first name, last name, email, phone number, company, message. Is there anything else you, like as a marketer, you would want to capture on this?
You know, probably what type of company it is, company size, you know.
Okay. All right, so let's do that really quickly. I've got a form. We're going to go to our contact us form. Which one is this? Contact us. Forms, contact us. Okay, so maybe company size.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, that's going to be what? Select.
Yeah, is select essentially a drop down or pick list?
Yes, except I don't have. Yeah, let's just go with text. Okay. In this case,
I'll tell you what,
I don't think this demo instance is set up properly for this.
Instead of company size, why not? How did you hear about us? Because I think that's a really good hook.
How did you? Okay. Here, so for the name here, I'm just going to use like snake case. So that, how did you hear about us? Text. Cool. Tell me more. Okay, let's go ahead and make that required as well. That'd be fun. All right, so that'll be, save it. This is the beauty of Directus. I didn't even really mean to showcase this, but this is a dynamic form builder. You can do stuff like this with Directus very easily, where now we have a box that says, tell me more. All right, so let's fill this thing out. I'm going to do Mr. John Daniels. John, an example. Company. What's John's fictional company in this? Skynet?
Yeah, Skynet. Why not?
All right. What's the message here? Because it apparently, like ChatGPT, hopefully should pick up on this and give us something personalized.
Yeah, so I would say something like I'm looking for a headless CMS solution, and I'd like to learn more about what you offer.
And I'd like to learn more about what you offer. I agree with terms of service. How did you find us? ChatGPT. All right, so we submit this. Form is not defined. Oh, that's fun. So that's broken, clearly.
Live demos.
Live demos are great. No worries. Oh, it actually went through. So great.
Nice.
Okay, so we got that. I do not see the chat GPT data in there, so something is broken there. We'll take a look. OpenAI test. I'm going to go ahead and make this full screen. Let's see. Ran less than a minute ago. We've got the payload. We could not parse the JSON body of your request. Body. Bad request. Expects a JSON payload, but what you sent was not valid JSON. Okay, so what have I done wrong here? Well, you could reach out to ChatGPT for help on this, but I'm assuming it's because we passed it some JSON data, but we did not like validate it or anything, or I don't know. Hey, let's try. I'm going to add an operation. I'm going to go in and here I'm just going to use the run script option, and I'm just going to say stringify. So we're going to take the data. We're going to constant our data equals data dot trigger dot body dot payload dot data. So this is the trigger. This is the data coming from the form submission, and we're just going to return JSON dot stringify data. Oh, actually, I can't do that. Got the data in here twice, so we'll do string data. I told you naming was fun in these things. All right, so we'll stringify it, then we'll pass it along, and then, oh, actually, we need to do that first. So I'll just swap the order of these. Directus makes that nice and easy to do. Clearly need to get like Nicholas on here to help me design this stuff because I don't put it together very well. But all right, let's try that and see. We're going to edit this request, and instead of that, we're just going to populate stringify here. Stringify. All right, and that's going to work. Why? Any ideas?
Couldn't even tell you. I am extremely out of my element in this scenario.
All right, so we're using the mustache bracket. Like basically, what we want this to do, this should just return a string of the JSON data instead of the actual JSON data. We'll hopefully pass that into ChatGPT properly this time. One of the other things I'm going to do really quickly here, I'm going to just change this to items.update and create so that we can go back in and just update this record and see what comes out of it. I'm going to change the name to Johnny. We'll hit save. Let's go back in and check our flows. So on the update data, that's not working correctly. Wonder why. ChatGPT email, ChatGPT metadata, inbox. That should be right. Not sure why that's not right either. Rise of the Terminator. .data. All right, so we're opening the logs. It did something. Here's the payload we got back. There's the content. We don't have access to this. Payload, ChatGPT, email, metadata. Let's just leave the metadata off for now. That was wishful thinking, maybe. Come back and solve that later. Now, how are we going to get this data into ChatGPT? Would this be... is this one of our alter payload options? Actually, I'll tell you what. We need to just do this. Payload for GPT equals plus GPT. All right, so what I'm doing, I'm just cleaning this up. We got our messages. This is going to be JavaScript, so I'm going to do that. All right, and then we're going to take the JSON to string. No. Yeah. We're going to take this piece, run that, just append it to this, and return something. We're going to return the payload for GPT. We'll connect that back. And here within this one, Matt, we should just be able to do something like this, where we just call stringify. We'll change the name to Johnny. We'll go back to our flows. Cross your fingers, Matt. String data. I've messed up that script as well. JSON to string. Data dot trigger dot payload dot data. All right. Luck of the Irish, here it is. This is it. It's going to work. It's going to work. It's going to work.
It's definitely going to work.
Okay, maybe it's still running. 1 minute ago. I thought I triggered it. Let's try one more time. Johnny Daniels. Save. Item updated. Flows. OpenAI test. Less than a minute ago. Payload. Whoa, there it is, dude.
The payload has arrived. All right.
Skynet has identified your request for a headless CMS solution. Dear John Daniels, greeting from Skynet. There it is. Nice. Okay. So let's see if it actually updated this data. It did not populate the email, though. So that's fun. I don't know why it did not do that. So let's do our flows. We've got our OpenAI test. For permissions, let's do full access just to see if that works. Or if not, it's probably something to do with this. Rise of the Terminator.data.choices. Payload. Okay, so the key is not defined. That's the problem. Not a big deal. Okay, so there's the issue. I'm getting a array of keys from the trigger, and I am trying to call it just a key. So we'll do IDs trigger.keys number 1, first item in the array, and we'll remove that guy. All right. Last time we're changing his name. This is,
Pretty confident about this one. Love it.
I love when stuff starts coming together. Okay, so what is happening, it looks like, is that that request to the Chat GPT API is taking a few minutes to process before it shows up in the logs. Mm-hmm. So I'll just keep clicking refresh until it comes up. Less than a minute. There we go. Chat GPT. Okay. There's our email.
Boom.
We could ask it to properly format as HTML, probably as a follow-up. But there's our email. Now, what do we do with this, right? So we got the email. Can we send it to this particular person? I'm going to change this to your email, Matt, just for fun.
Love it.
All right, and then what we're going to do now, let's create a separate flow that you manually trigger the email from that specific item. Like, hey, if this is good, maybe I want to make a few changes. I save it, then I trigger the email, and it fires that off.
So even if the changes are made inside of that text area, it's going to keep that. It's going to take the format of the changes that you make there.
Yep. So we'll hit send email. Let's do manual. All right. Now, when we manually trigger, we're going to pick a collection that we're going to run that on. And in this one, well, we could trigger this on multiple items if we wanted to, but we don't really need a confirmation from this one because we're just picking the data up. And we'll save it. So we're going to trigger manually on items in the inbox. And what we're going to do, we're going to send email. So we've got a send email option. We're going to pick this up from the trigger. So trigger.payload.data.email. Subject line, termination is coming. And then for our content, it's going to be trigger.payload.chatgpt_email. All right. That look good?
I'm anxiously awaiting my inbox here.
All right. So, okay. So it's giving back the subject line. We should have asked for like JSON and then we would have parsed that out. But yeah. Let's just drop in a few. The Terminator of Skynet. Best regards. No big deal. All right. So I'm going to hit save and stay here. And then I've got this manually triggered flow. We'll hit send email. And fingers crossed. I'm not sure if you could share your screen, Matt. I guess I could have probably changed it to my name, my email, so since I'm the one sharing the screen. But let me just verify that this did send. Missing to header. I thought I populated that. I guess I did not. Okay. Yet another snag. So since we triggered this manually, the response coming from the trigger is a little bit different. And what we're going to do now, we're just going to read the data. Read inbox. So we'll pick up the inbox collection. Save. Let me look at the log real quick. So this is the data that we're getting from the trigger, and I didn't account for that. So we have to change what we've got. And because we're not getting the actual data, we're going to grab it. So this is going to be trigger.body.keys, first key. Save that. That's going to read the data from that, and then we'll pick that up. So read inbox, and now what we're going to do is change this to read underscore inbox.data.email, hopefully. And I'm just going to do my own email address here just to cheat a little bit to make sure something's coming back. And we'll do read inbox data.chat. Actually, it's not going to be that. It'll just be chat GPT email. Boom. Fingers crossed, Matt. Let me see him.
Look at the Irish.
There's the email. Send email. Check the logs. What do we got? What do we got for him, Johnny?
We
got an email.
Inbox. Target person greetings. I am an AI advanced model from OpenAI. All right. Super creepy, but it worked. Just got an email from OpenAI that says termination is coming. That's awesome. That's really cool.
Yeah.
This is
let
like,
me see if I got it. Boom. Yeah, there it is. Termination is coming.
If it was formatted via the HTML in that text area, it would come through like formatted like a regular email, not coming from like a...
Yeah. So like if we wanted to expand on that, like what we would do, we'd go into our Open API or OpenAI. God, why do I keep calling it that, right? Write it like the Terminator, return HTML. So we could try that and see. Johnny Daniels. And we'll just clear this out just to verify. So we'll hit save. We'll wait a minute. This should be calling Chat GPT now. Hopefully it will return actual HTML for us. And then that would be properly formatted. You could tell it to return Markdown as well. Fingers crossed. Yeah, there we go. So now, if we open up that inbox item, yeah, there you go.
Greetings.
Greetings, Johnny Daniels.
Best regards. This is really cool. I like the number of use cases this can be applied to. You're basically just scaling personalization. Like, I see a lot of people using Directus, for like a CRM use case too. So if you have like tons of contact records in here, being able to just run a simple flow to update each one with like a nice email based on the data you have contained with them, and just click.
Yeah, and I'm not sure what all is available with like Chat GPT 4. I know it's like way more advanced than this. It's a little bit slower, but even I'm not sure if they're making like the plugins available via API yet or not. I haven't played with those, but potentially opens a lot of doors of like, hey, go fetch like the latest blog post from their site and summarize it and do some sneaky, sketchy stuff there.
I mean, like, yeah, even just scanning their LinkedIn for a recent activity, seeing if they liked, commented stuff. Like, I don't think we're there yet, but this basically is an AI SDR. Like, you can buy I'm just, such a cool use case. And, yeah.
Yeah, and then, like, you could even... like the ways that you could improve this as well, just like without any other, like if you were to pick up data from like Zoom Info or Clearbit or any of those, and like store that on the record inside Directus, you could feed that into ChatGPT as well, and hopefully it would become even more personalized.
Yeah.
I don't know how I feel personally about feeding the robot all the data. But.
Yeah. If before Twitter's API like shut down, I did have an idea to create a scraper to see like who somebody followed, and then you can build like a custom personality model off of it, but that doesn't exist anymore. And there's a lot of sketchy, where do we draw the line, right? But I don't know. This is awesome. It only took an hour. So let's recap. To start, we ran into a roadblock. Wasn't quite sure what all the stringify, all that stuff was. So if you could clarify for me the changes you made.
So like the roadblock that we ran into was probably just like the nature of Directus flows in some bit, that we're like, what we're doing is building JSON through each of these, and then we were trying to pass data that it was like JSON within JSON within JSON to OpenAI's API, and it said, hey, we don't like that. So the solution here was actually just build the response that we're going to send to them
natively inside Directus before.
Yeah, inside the script, and then just pass that output to the script to make it a little bit easier. Because the run script operation, one of my favorite ones inside flows, I can just run whatever JavaScript that I want to there. And that's helpful for like formatting the data as we did here. Like doing date math if I need to. Like if I was doing something like, hey, I wanted to populate like a send time for this, and like have it go out automatically, I could do that as well.
Like during like normal work hours or outside of work
hours. Or you could say, hey, like during these hours, UTC, schedule this email for like 2 days out.
That's awesome.
And then you would basically have like another flow on like a cron trigger, which is just like a schedule. So it is the schedule cron trigger, and then you just set up an interval like, hey, this flow is going to run every 10 minutes, every 5 minutes, and then it would look for emails where like the send date is now or before now.
There's every day I learn something new with Directus, and I'm going to get there. I got to learn some JavaScript, because it's you can do anything with this. It's crazy. Like I never would have expected you could build an entire email automation platform and customize emails right inside Directus.
It's the $100 set of Legos, man. It's very nice.
Pretty cool. And you did it, and you literally built a business in 1 hour. You could sell this service as like a SaaS, with your own branding on it. Just cool stuff, man. Like powerful.
You think people would pay for that? Well, I mean, they're already paying for it with like these crazy AI tools, but man, that's super powerful to be able to like craft something like this. Granted, I'm a developer advocate here, and I've been coding for several years, but armed with something like ChatGPT to create some of the code bits for you, like you don't have to be a senior engineer to put this stuff together. That's the other thing for me. Like I still wouldn't even call myself a professional developer. Yeah.
I mean, I don't know what you're doing with Stringify and all that stuff, so I'm nowhere near that. But, objectively speaking, as somebody that doesn't have the technical expertise, but, I think with Google Foo and just watching some YouTube videos, being able to pick this up. But, I mean, it's crazy. Like, I know I'm a corporate chill for Directus, but, like, objectively speaking, a tool like this, email automation tool, that like you just pay like $99 a month for like the annual fee for Directus or whatever. You could easily charge 5x, 6x just for this single use case. It's just cool stuff, man.
So That's it for this episode of Hopline. It ran a little bit long, but Directus Maximus. I hope this was helpful for you and hopefully to other community members here at Directus.
Yeah.
If you've got a question that you would like to see us answer on the Hopline, fire it off. What's the email address, Matt?
Hopline@directus.io. Please send. I mean, this is one of my favorite series, and I'm just gonna sit in and learn and watch and just be the weird guy quietly watching you build JSON in the corner. No, it's just cool, man. Just thanks for inviting me. I'm excited to see what else comes through.
Yeah, appreciate you having you on, Matt. That's solid. I like this format, having a buddy on here. A pair programmer, backseat driver.
There you go.
Solid.
Backseat driver. Love it.
All right, guys. We'll see you on the next one. Thanks.